Hello everyone, my name is Clockwork Cartoon, full-time cartoon villain and game design student. And we're back checking out more custom levels, hopefully going to be a bit more consistent with this one compared to the last one. Now, as you may know, we've been struggling quite a bit with this one Dustbowl map. And as much as I'd like to hop right back into playing it, I can't spend every stream on one map. So let's get back to showing off other custom maps that I've favorited and have wanted to show off. Starting with yeses. That doesn't roll off the tongue well. Fall Park by Yes. Now let's see. Honestly, this one I could definitely see falling into one of the beginner level maps. Do we want Churchill for this? I mean, it's got straight paths, but I think honestly, I think I'm feeling Eton. Now we've got the good old for any easy map, and that is a lot of overlap. As well as very dominant water areas. So, where would Eton best be placed? I'm actually thinking Eton would be placed maybe not necessarily at the front because, well, I usually reserve the front for Desperado, but definitely around here. Well, that seems to have plenty of coverage. Add in... Thing is, I plan on putting a Desperado up here, so I don't want to... I don't want to place anything too close to where it could get caught. I would also like to apologize for the, I guess, wonkiness mishaps. Basically the 4th of July and its inconsistent streaming. Like, plans for the holiday kept changing, so it was kind of all over the place. But that's all in the past. Right now we're back to showing off the wonderful things that the Bloons character events community can make. Let's put you over here. This falls into the category of very simplistic map. Most of its details come from the chosen background itself, which is a very nice background. I always like the fall theme maps, and it's kind of a shame they don't use it more often. But also, nicely paired with these orange trees, and kept at the corner to make sure they don't get in the way of viewing the actual map itself. You also have some smaller details like the fish pond sign over here. Oh. I think the fish pond sign over here, and the small patches of flowers around the area. How do I want to deal with leads, to be honest? That'll come when it comes. One thing, my only real gripe, I would say, is kind of how the water doesn't really look like it's a part of the map itself, as that wasn't integrated into it organically. Like, you can see the kind of like the cutoff where, well, look, you can see the cutoff where the path over here separates the terrain. I mean, I've seen there are definitely water reserves that are kind of built like that, where you have like a path, concrete path or walkway going around the park. But I don't know, it just seems a bit off to me. I would have preferred if there was like a bit more distance between the two areas. Yep. Got camo online. And leads... Yeah, we can get an enforcer before we have to deal with leads, I think. Leads come until 27, right? I could never memorize the rounds. Ah, it's just short. And we got a shotgun. So, yep, got some good range, and then we can go get an alchemist. So, what to actually discuss today? How about playing? Well, I would say plans for next stream, though that's a bit presumptuous. But one important thing that may be causing the schedule to be even wonkier is that I'm actually moving. Yeah, family's in the middle of a big move, so I'll have to be packing stuff up and getting ready for that. I hope that it won't cause or get in the way too much of streaming, but it's always nice to just give a heads up. Other things is that, unfortunately, like when I started doing this, I was like going on a roll when it came to drawing. But the thing is, I haven't really been posting my art as much as I would have liked to. Hopefully, once I actually start or gather things to post on my Twitter more frequently, and yes, I do have a Twitter, because social media is just one of these things you have to do. A Faustian bargain of sorts. If you have a YouTube channel or want to have any kind of social media content creator networking presence, then you must sell your soul to the I'd say to the bluebird. You must sell your soul to the white X. I guess that's what it is now. Still don't understand why they changed that. Like, it doesn't even make sense. Granted, I still call it Twitter. How do we get past this point? Yeah, I guess stronger stimulant, maybe? Actually, maybe bullseye just so I can have crits. Oh wait, does this make the projectiles different? Because I swear the projectiles looked sharper before. Learn something new every day. And we got universal camo. And we should be able to get stronger stimulants very soon. Voila! So, then, I'll be honest with ya. I've never been good when it comes to actually thinking what to say. Speaking's hard, you know? I mean, I guess that's one little failing of mine, not having like a whole list of things I want to talk about going into this stream. And hey, it was all part of the, I guess, learning process, you could call it. One thing that has been on my mind, because we played Garden Warfare a bit yesterday, and it was fun to get back into that. I honestly do love playing Garden Warfare 2. Criminally underrated game in my opinion, and EA should not have killed it. Oh, actually, speaking of games that should not be killed, that just kind of reminded me. You hear about this thing going around called the Stop Killing Games Initiative? Yeah, apparently a bunch of... Well, it's an EU legislation, so only people in Europe will be actually affected by it. But the legislation basically goes, or has... thing is, like, I don't know the movement all too well. I've heard of it, but I don't want to make any presumptions, you know? But the movement itself is founded on this idea. I think it was created by this guy named Scott. I know him better by his YouTube channel, Accursed Farms, who is behind the Freeman's Mind series. And Freeman's Mind is like a whole other thing. Like, it's great. But... So, Accursed Farms was the one, I believe, that was largely perpetrating the movement. Again, could be wrong here. But the movement itself is an initiative to try and stop companies from being able to just shut down games. You see that a lot in the live service industry, where a developer can just stop supporting the games, shut down the servers, and if the player paid any money, well, that's basically a sunken cost, or sunk investment. And the movement really spawned because you don't get that with older titles, you know? Like, a company... How can I say? Trying to... Like, God, I am blanking on, like, developer names. You'd think as a game designer, I'd memorize some of the big names in the industry and the games they've made, but yeah. It's like if you bought a copy of Banjo-Kazooie, and then when Rare went under, you could no longer play Banjo-Kazooie. Obviously that's not the case because you bought the CD. You have the CD, you can play the game whenever you want. However, you don't get that with these newfangled live service models. Now, a company can basically say we're no longer supporting this games or its servers, and we're shutting everything down and you can't play your games anymore. Which I do personally believe is bullshit. Like, when you buy a product, you own a product. The idea that you don't own your games is bullshit. And it's just one of the many, many, many ways certain companies have tried to, I can't really say scam, but cheat their customers out of a few bucks. Regardless of, like, is it fair, is it legal, whose fault it is, at the end of the day, it's still a scummy fucking practice. Like, you wouldn't accept this with a vase. You wouldn't accept this with furniture you've bought. You wouldn't accept this with your PC, or any other tech or appliances or goods you own. So why the hell would you accept it with digital goods like games? We can get ethical and pale next. Now granted, there seems to be a very small community raging against... Oh, right. So basically, I believe EU's passing legislation that would kind of be in line with the Stop Killing Games movement. Basically saying that companies can no longer just shut things down entirely, or at least there'd be some legal repercussions to something like that. And there does seem to be a small collective of people who are saying, well, I say small collective, I know like exactly one person, believe it's Pirate Software, I'll be honest, I only know about pirate software because they occasionally appear in some minute controversy from time to time. I honestly don't even watch the controversy videos because I don't care. Regardless, he's saying that legislation like this will kill the live service industry. The problem is, I don't think many people care about that. In fact, a lot of people are critical of the idea of live service or subscription services. I mean, I'm not a big fan of subscription services myself. And in fact, I don't use subscription services. Either I get them free as a part of my college education, or I just don't get them. Or I just use free trials, or I just find alternatives that are either free or single purchase. I don't know. I don't like the idea of something being a constant drain on my very limited finances. I find that to be like a poor spending decision. Very poor spending decision, especially considering how, for quite some time, I mean, my parents got along just fine without any of this live subscription digitized stuff, you know? Oh, I didn't get an Avenger. I swear it was 11 just a few seconds ago. I don't know how pricing works here. So that's the gaming news in today's day and age. Today's day and age, really. That's what I go with. Oh. Sorry, I had want to take a sip of my, totally water. Definitely water. Okay. So then, what other things are really going on in the world today? I mean, so 4th of July has come and gone, but the fireworks were always nice. So I have to say, I mean, look, I am an American, but even I have to admit, it's kind of annoying when your neighbors are setting off fireworks at, like, midnight. Granted, I do stay up pretty late myself, but once the noise goes past, like, 2 at night, then I think it's a bit much. Let's see here. What? Not... Eh. I really should post drawings, because I do draw, it's just that I am very slow and inconsistent when it comes to drawing. I mean, I made this PNG tuber myself. I mean, couldn't you tell? Granted, of course, not exactly what I'd consider my best work. No shading, no highlights. Line art could definitely be cleaned. Oh, line art. So the thing is, when I use Krita, but when I moved to using Krita, because I was using free version of Photoshop, thanks college. When I was using a free version of Photoshop and then moved to Krita, I never really like bothered with the brushes, because I just thought, oh yeah, the base brushes are just fine, who cares? Yeah, you don't want to make that same mistake. Always make sure you check your brush settings, because apparently I checked my brushes in Krita, and auto space thing and I think A-listing were off. Now, what are those two things? I don't know, I kind of just accept that those are two things you have to have on, or make sure you have turned on when you're doing art. To be 100% honest with you, I am not the type of person who can tell you the specific terminology of a thing, nor can I really fancily explain all the individual who, what, why, and how of it. I simply know what they are, what they do, or not. I simply know how they are used. I think that's the best way to describe it. I know what I need to know in order to get something done. Everything else is kind of optional. Granted, that mindset has gotten me short a few times. You know, I have had to like look up certain tips, strategies, and terms myself already. But after I learned them, then everything just kind of falls back into that OneNote pile of, well, I know how to get something done, let's get it done. As far as I'm concerned, as long as something can get the job done, it's good enough, you know? Granted, for a few things, I still have my own personal level of quality I like to achieve. Like, I spent, what, a couple weeks, almost a whole month, just trying to get this PNG ready, and even then it's still not up to what I consider quality. Still, I do hope that I can draw more, genuinely get better at drawing too. I really should post on Twitter more often. Granted, I probably won't be advertising until I have a good idea of how I'm handling Twitter, but hey, details. Regardless of the case. Blanking out again. I have to wonder sometimes how other people do it, you know? How other people are able to just talk so much, so consistently. And I know that's probably odd because I seem to be able to talk, because I'm able to talk about the most inane things with no real rhyme or reason. But maybe I'm just getting hung up in like talking about what I presume an audience would actually want to hear. But, you know, when I'm not really talking to an audience. Or at least I'm not talking to any specific person with specifically known interests. When you boil it down, I'm honestly talking to the air, at least right now. I've had some people pop in chat, and they're always good to talk with, especially when it comes to helping me with, like, what strategies I should go with, or powers I should place for certain maps. Always good, and it's always good to see returning viewers. But times like this, times where I'm getting too caught up in the idea of, is something worth talking? Because even then, like, I'm the type of person who usually doesn't say something unless they have a reason to say it, you know? Or at least I'm not the type of person to say something without a reason. Say something without reason? I'm basically shuffling through 100 different metaphors how to describe a single damn thing. But the point is, usually if I don't have something to say, I won't say anything at all. So being able to just like talk randomly and freely, unabashedly. I swear, I'm starting to sound like that one villain from World Girl. Mrs. Lady Oh, what? That was her name. Lady Redundant Woman, I believe. That was a great show. Point is just reusing similar, different words, same meaning. I was going somewhere with this ramble, but now all I'm thinking is just how cool Word Girl was back in the day. Yeah, honestly, Word Girl was a very... the CBS shows in general were all great. I mean, what I grew up on were Cartoon Network and CBS, because the thing is, we didn't have Cartoon Network at my house because I think we didn't have cable and just never knew what channel to look for. And since I was a kid, I also could never figure out exactly, or didn't have the object permanence to remember the exact channels I had to go through. But, Christ. Shuffling back on through my thought processes. I mean, this would be a good place. Nah, you're gonna be... Hold on, I want you as pretty far away so you're not overlapping too much. You'll do. So, CBS and Cartoon Network were the things I used to watch. I'd watch CBS shows back at my home, but then my grandma lived nearby, so when I was younger, I'd always go over to her house to watch Cartoon Network. And it was kind of like a flip-flop between the two. So, hold on. And I think my two favorite shows growing up were Ed, Edd n Eddy and Word Girl. Word Girl, I always loved seeing the crazy villains and like all their unique gimmicks or what hack-a-brain scheme they'd come up with for the episode. And with Ed, Edd n Eddy, it was much the same. Like, I always loved seeing what the Ed boys would come up with for their scams. Oh. And faster throwing, because you're splitting between two fast-shooting creatures. And we got that. I still... What was... Okay. Thing is, I think between the two, Ed, Edd n Eddy was my favorite. In fact, Ed, Edd n Eddy was a reason why I ended up growing up liking a lot of slapstick comedy and having this very sort of slapstick comedy and a sort of more dry humor, because I always liked Eddie's sarcasm. And also, I remember I'd love to try mimicking their own scams. Like, when I was a kid, I wanted to build a satellite out of cardboard, because in one of the early Ed, Edd n Eddy episodes, they made a satellite out of cardboard, scrap, and a rubber band. And how it basically worked was that the rubber band spun the propeller then had somehow enough force to lift the cardboard satellite into the air. And I thought, and here's the thing, I assure you, I was a very smart kid. But not that smart, so I kind of knew that, okay, things are able to, if you spin a propeller fast enough, it causes air to move. Air moves down, thus causing lift up. Like, I was able to understand that concept. What I didn't understand was that it took a lot more than a rubber band or just a propeller hat to get lift. So I thought that I could actually build a cardboard satellite and get it to fly off. And I enlisted the help of my dad to build this cardboard satellite. And he always tells a story. Like, because when we finally finished building it, I looked into him and says, well, why isn't it flying? Why can't we make it fly? And my dad always says, from that day forward, he knew I was going to be a pain in the ass. Jokingly, mind you, jokingly a pain in the ass, because I genuinely thought that I could actually recreate the scams. Or, I don't know, it's like it was a very sort of pseudo-scientific purview I had back in the day. Should I save up for anything else? Meh. Yeah, let's see how far we can get just on this. And that wasn't even the only identity scam I tried to emulate. Like, I remember seeing in another episode, they found these, they called them Canadian squirt guns, they were turkey basters, and they'd fill them up with water and create like a whole Western RP thing. Where basically Eddie was the sheriff selling these turkey basters or Canadian squirt guns to the other kids of the cul-de-sac, and then extorting them out of money for protection. Like a true sheriff. Fun fact, a lot of sheriffs of the day, or of the time, were actually convicts or criminals. Some, well, not active criminals, but like ex-criminals. So, honestly, they got Eddie being the sheriff makes more sense than you'd think. However, in a different episode, they also created an entire cityscape out of cardboard. And I ended up kind of combining the two concepts. Okay, maybe I do need to purchase something. Oh, wait a sec. Wait a second. No, I don't. It loops back around. It'll be fine. But just in case, attack shooter never hurt anyone. Ah, I forgot that was 100. So I ended up combining the two concepts together and thus creating a western town out of cardboard. Thing is, I couldn't find the turkey baster, so instead I used... It wasn't a medical syringe, but it was like plastic tube. I don't know what it's called, but it's like it works off the same, for lack of a better term, mechanism as a syringe, where you kind of like push down the plastic to squirt things out. So I couldn't find the turkey baster, so I used that instead. Which was doubly odd because we had squirt guns, but I don't know, I guess I just wanted to really mimic Ed and Eddie. So anyway, and make sure to leave a like, go to home. Oh, and that was Fall Park by Yes. Check it out yourself. Heard. That came out a lot harsher than I would have liked. Now, let's keep going in order to Borderlands Tower Battles. Wait, Tower Battle... Oh, is this a map from that Tower Battle thing? The competitive game. So if it's a recreation of an existing Ninja Kiwi map, then... Perhaps I should be a bit harsher. Wait, how do they... They honestly did a really damn good job here. Like, that is some nice detail. So obviously everything is like zoomed out a lot more to make everything was shrunk down to make everything else seem bigger. Which makes me wonder how the balloons are sized. Wait, let's check. Yep, water. Granted, it is still a very limited point, and it can't fit. It can't fit a Buccaneer, meaning most you're gonna get is a sub. And yeah, these rocks block line of sight, meaning even the sub isn't gonna have full dominance over the map. Okay. Granted, that's an aspect of Ninja Kiwi's design, I believe. Again, assuming that... Pardon me. Assuming that this basis off an existing map made by Ninja Kiwi. But how they interpreted it over is honestly genius. Wait a second. Oh my god, that's how they did it. These are the tops of the graded fence posts. That is brilliant. That is actually brilliant. And then using these crates to create a wall and then turned to the side wooden fence posts in order to add extra detail, and these platforms to represent like a broken down. Oh wait, can you place something? You can, that's so cool. Now where would I want to put Etten? Nah, this isn't a map for Churchill. At least I wouldn't say so. Now, gut feeling makes me think Etten would be best here. That way the Etten can get like some pretty good coverage all round. But at the same time, I mean, would I use Desperado here is the thing. Probably not. Do I abandon my Desperado? God, I don't really want to. Like, the shotgun is so cool. But this doesn't look like a map that would be good for him. Or at least it doesn't look like a map that would be good for bottom pass Desperado. Top, or middle pass Desperado, just maybe. Let's put you here. Ah, crap. Forgot. And since we're no longer having to worry about that, we can probably put this one here. Okay, Desperado, I'm gonna need you to carry until I can get Etten, because I did not mean to place you. Can Desperado carry through the very first round? Oh, damn, so close. I actually thought Desperado was gonna make it. Okay, well that was a misplay anyways. Now, I would have liked to have... I think this is actually better, because Etten's more used to Desperado here than it is to Glue Gunner or Ice Monkey. What was I talking about beforehand? I've completely forgotten by this point. Ed, Ed, and Eddie, I think. Maybe. Right. Oh yeah, I was talking about all the times I tried to emulate the Ed scams. Good times indeed. I was honestly really big into the Saturday morning cartoon of the week format. Scam of the week, villain of the week. Because I always just liked seeing what new ideas they'd come up with. Whoever they were. Let's put you here. Hopefully you don't catch too much in your revolver range. Oh, I know the Eds were technically protagonists, but when you really think about it, like, the Eds were the villains of their own story. They were scamming kids and putting them into very precarious situations. Like, none of the stuff they built was up to any code. So they were basically putting all the other kids of the cul-de-sac in danger for 25 cents. Yeah, no matter how you slice it, the Eds... I mean, Double D may have tried to be good, but even he was still, like, going along and was complicit in a lot of the scams themselves. The Eds were not the good guys. Not by a long shot, to be honest. Quick draw. I mean, Camel's next. I'll have to worry about lead for a while. Wait, what the hell? That moved a lot faster than I expected, but... maybe we could use at least one other to hold down the fort. But at the same time, that's kind of why I like the Eds so much, because I was a big fan of any villain character. Like, saw another big show, that part of my childhood, Sonic X. I remember my favorite part of any Sonic X episode was when Eggman showed up, looked at his deck of cards and went, I can't decide, and then slapped it into a slot machine to decide on what evil robot would be attacking the gang that day. I genuinely thought that was like a brilliant idea, and I guess you could say Sonic X Eggman did kind of influence a lot of my interests in villainy. Really, Sonic X Eggman and another villain called Professor Fate from the Great Race movie, but I'll talk about that one later. So, I always like, okay, rewinding back a bit, Ed, Edd, and Eddy. I always like the idea of the Eds, maybe not always being full-blown villains in other stories, but the idea of the Eds being, okay. Okay, my mistake, I got distracted. At least now we know. Where was I? Right. I always liked imagining the Eds as like their own trio of antagonists in other shows, and actually going full-blown villain. Like, I think my favorite Ed and Eddy episode of all time was was Robin Ed. That was what it was called. It was basically an episode where Eddie created the villain persona of Professor Scam because Johnny created the hero persona of Captain Melonhead. And the moment they introduced the superhero concept, I was hooked. Which is weird, because I don't like superheroes that much. Well, I say I don't like superheroes. I do like superheroes, I just don't like Marvel. Marvel, in my opinion, has just completely oversaturated itself. Well, as much as I would blame Marvel for that, it's more Disney's fault. Disney oversaturated Marvel, like they oversaturate everything else I do. Maybe an alchemist down here, an alchemist down here would be better, perhaps. Right next to... Right next to our Desperado. So I remember, like, I'd always picture the Eds being like a trio of villains in Word Girl, or a trio of villains in Kids Next Door. I guess most people would probably see the Eds as like the heroes. Even like, thing is, most people would probably put the Eds in the role of hero, but I don't know, I don't think the role of hero fits them. The role of anti-hero, on the other end, that I can see the Eds doing. Like, I can see the Eds as anti-heroes using trickery and their scams to do good. Because in my opinion, that's how it should be. That's how the Eds should be. They are tricksters. Which, honestly, is an archetype you don't really get much in your heroes these days. Like, the idea of the trickster hero, or the trickster archetype, is severely underutilized. I think the only trickster hero I can name that I really enjoyed was... Hey? Oh, thank God. Okay, I really need to get another monkey to do something. I'll think a dart monkey up here shooting down. That'd probably cover a lot. But would it make more sense? Nah, I want... Well, actually, can I fit it down here? Nah. Nah. We're going for coverage here. Particularly with a crossbow. Come on. I want to get this crossbow as soon as I possibly can. It's mostly this guy's mostly here for coverage. You know, pick off things that slip by. Granted, a sniper monkey probably would have been better for that. Damn. And then we'll go for quick shots. That should pick off anything that comes by to disturb us. I want to get Deadeye, but I don't know if I can really save up for it. Okay, I believe... Wait, which one gives them... Oh yeah, this one gives them the ability to pop lead. Okay, we should be having to deal with lead very soon, though. Alright, the only character I can think off the top of my head that I think are the best example of a trickster hero, Captain Jack Sparrow. Like, that he was the perfect trickster hero. Because you never really knew what his motivations were. He would always play the part of the fool. He was entertaining, though that's of course more an aspect of the act, or than necessarily the character. The writers did also. It was actors and writers are always the minds behind any one character. I may have been a bit overzealous with my... Oh, wait. Yeah, we're fine. Yeah, I think we can, from this point, we can probably save up for Desperado Middle Pass. Let's be safe. Oh, come on, just a few hundred short. I was discussing something or other. Right, Ed and Eddie. Or at least the idea of the Eds, that the Eds should be seen as trickster, either trickster heroes or, if not, antagonists. Not like serious antagonists, because they're still the Eds, they're not outright evil. But I'd hardly say they're in the upper echelons of goody two-shoes. Or they're not exactly the shining of examples of virtue. Oh yeah. I think from this position now we can start building up and working on... I want to put you here. Yeah, let's go with here. Oh, I think I actually get more track coverage on if I put it here. Hey. We got him. Would I? Yeah, I mainly use bottom pass to deal with... Oh boy. I mainly use bottom pass to deal with Moabs. Speaking of Moabs, Moab's actually coming in very soon. I don't know if I can actually have enough to deal with it. Shit. Oh no. Okay, I just completely messed up that round. Okay, I can spend the cash. Completely messed up that round. Oh, I keep forgetting. I don't know why I don't know why it gives you the cash bonus, but I always forget that's a thing. Ah, damn. Thing is, it would take so long to get back, and like, I do want to... I've neglected to show off as many custom levels as I would have liked to, you know? So I want to keep things rolling along. And part of that... Wait, what? Cryo cannon can't shoot Moabs. Yeah, can it? How did I not... forget it. We can at least get primary mentoring now. And we're in a much better position. Almost, at least. Okay, let's get some better glue damage up here. I think this is like much more my alley. Or now the balloons are getting stuck before they can even get too far ahead. And soon we'll have relentless glue to keep them locked completely. These two are really match made in heaven, aren't they? I was talking about something or other. I think I was just rambling on about Eddie, but I think I've already explained that. Well, something I haven't rambled on about enough, Word Girl. Granted, I don't have as many memories of Word Girl as I do Ed and Eddie. But I do remember that for some reason there's like a weird sudden resurgence of World Girl on YouTube for a small bit. That or YouTube just randomly recommended me one video, I watched it, and then all of a sudden my feed was filled with World Girl videos for a while. Probably the latter, to be honest. And I think my favorite character... Well, favorite villain and favorite character, Dr. Two Brains. Always a joy to see him in an episode. And as well, I don't know, he was always just fun. Like, out of all of the actual villains in the story, he was one of the few that had, like, an actually important and major backstory, especially considering how he... Spoilers for Word Girl, if you care about that, but... Basically, before Dr. Two Brains was Dr. Two Brains, he was a scientist working on... I forget what exactly he was working on, but he basically was a scientist who had worked with many heroes and had a evil lab mouse. Or lab rat? Mouse? No, I'm pretty sure it was a mouse. It was a mouse. And then due to some series of events that I can't quite remember, the evil lab mouse did some trickery, merged his mind, or not really merged their minds, but kind of like pseudo-attached his mind. And that's kind of how Dr. Two Brains got his name, because he literally has two brains. I believe his original name was Boxner. So now it was Dr. Boxner's mind, as well as the mouse brain. He always just refers to it as mouse brain. Not really fighting for control, but Boxer kind of just lets the mouse brain take over and indulges it. And I'm sure there's like a whole psychological thing that could be looked over, like him actively choosing to let the mouse brain push him around comparatively. Because he has shown to at least try and fight against it a few times. Like, the fact that I mean, it's a kid's show, and it's a funny, haha villain where character gets his mind merged with an evil mouse, and now they do a bunch of cheese-related heists. Like, there were, like, a weird number of specifically cheese-related events. I say weird number, of course, the series just made those up so the character would have constant relevance. But basically, you had this once good scientist, famous scientist, and even friend of Word Girl, who due to a scientific accident, was now being controlled, or at least partially manipulated by an evil mouse brain and forced to conduct criminal activities. I mean, that's probably like the most emotional storytelling on the villain's end out of all of them. There's definitely... Word Girl does have a lot of emotional storytelling, especially when it comes to Word Girl herself as well as her friends. But I think out of the villains tend to be kind of like jokes or footnotes to a certain extent. Not to say they don't have their moments. Just, the villains never get as serious of an emotional storyline, except for a few moments and interactions with Two Brains. Boy, my hold on. My mind is going a mile a minute, to be honest. Yeah, how strong are we at this point? We should still get Icicle Impale. Sorry, I had to sneeze. I swear, I was gonna talk about something or other when it came to... Oh, right! Very enough, Word Girl falls into, like, I think my favorite, I guess you could call it, trope within superhero storytelling. And that is, like, when fantasy becomes mundane, is usually what I call it. Word Girl kind of did this, where, while, sure, it was a world of superheroes and supervillains, they still had, like, everyday lives outside of superhero and supervillainy, and where it would be, like, there'd be moments of having days off, moments of, like, quiet or solidarity between heroes and villains. And in a weird sense, it almost reminds me of, and again, this is going to be an odd comparison, the Venture Brothers. For anyone who doesn't know, the Venture Brothers was a animated series on Adult Swim that riffed on the boy adventure tropes of, like, Johnny Quest, but eventually evolved into riffing on the superhero genre. But the thing is how it handled its whole thing of superheroes or supervillainy, which I forget what they specifically called it, though. Pardon me. Basically, how they handled it is that it was all bureaucracy. Like, exorbitant amounts of just bureaucracy. In fact, I think one line from the show itself was kind of poignant of how it kind of treated its villain characters. Was basically... I'm going to paraphrase here because I can't explain every plot-relevant detail of the Venture Brothers, but it basically went, villains love their rules. Take away their rules and they're just a bunch of whack jobs with laser guns. And that is basically what supervillains typically are. There's more to supervillainy other beyond just causing havoc and destruction. No, there's an art to it, there's theatrics to it, there's silly costumes, over-the-top plans, and the like. There is an, like, referencing Megamind, it's all about presentation. That's the true marker of a supervillain. Or at least that's what separates a supervillain from a run-of-the-mill villain. You have to have the flair, the flash, the panache. Panache, you know, I always use panache. To this day, I don't think I've ever actually tried to look up what panache means. So you have the superheroes and supervillainy. Or at least you have this idea where... I'm trying to reorganize my thoughts here. I was just talking about how my favorite trope is when there are moments of solace or solidarity between heroes or villains, or that there's elements of mundanity. Like, for instance, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman all going out to get lunch together. I just love that image, because it reminds you that there is a life outside, that these people have a life outside of the superheroics. It reminds you that there is a mundane, normal world beyond all the flash and flare. And I find that to be absolutely hilarious. I think I remember seeing one pilot or show that was about an insurance company that was constantly trying to invent new ways to protect the average citizen from the insanity that were the fights between heroes and villains. And I thought that was just a genius idea. Can you imagine what it's like being an insurance company in a world where there's constant alien invasions? Like, there's so many hilarious stuff you can do with, like, the comedic potential you can arrive at from just the element of take a superhero fanatical world and think about how the every or average person would have to deal with the insanity. You know, because that mundanity adds a nice contrast to the insanity that is so fucking funny. A lot of humor is founded in the contrast between the normal and the absurd. I don't think normal is like the specific... The mundane and the absurd, I think, is the specific terminology. And I'd fully agree with that. Like, that, for me, that's where that's my favorite type of humor, that's where a lot of the humor I enjoy comes from. Just these just mundane, unimpressed, or sarcastic reactions to insanity. Did I get almost there yet? Not yet. I really, honestly, with how I always go with the thing, a full-time supervillain, I really don't lean into the supervillain angle too much. Gotta fix that. Grant, maybe I also do a few too many peeks behind the curtain. Why aren't you gluing? There we go. You know, these quiet moments of just musing to myself on how to get better. I do hope that it's at least evidence enough that I do want to, maybe take this seriously isn't the best way to put it, but want to improve, want to get better, want to properly engage with this medium and world of online content creation and VTubing. One of my favorite VTubers, or at least, yeah, one of my favorite VTubers and one of the people who inspired me to really start doing this is a VTuber called Yomi Quinley, and she's actually having a supervillain outfit revealed, I believe on the 8th, so unfortunately I think as of today she said that there was going to be a delay, but I'm more than happy to wait. One thing I am sad about is that I can't participate properly in the festivities, especially considering how much I told about being a supervillain, eh? Well, at least I'd say that in my intro. I really do have to just get better and improve at that. Nah, panic button. Panic too hard. Oh, yeah, we're fine. That's 50. That's 50 doubloons. That's not gonna be good. Yeah, we can survive, I think. Hopefully, maybe, eh? Oh, dude. Maybe one thing is, like, I've kind of skipped over a lot of the typical fanfare and whatnot that someone may go through when it comes to setting all this stuff. No debut, no model, no. I haven't created a full-on reference sheet, just have the front. I'm kind of just building things as I go along, you know? Like I've said before, a lot of this is just me learning how to be a content creator, first and foremost. VTuber stuff can come in later once I'm more comfortable with what I'm doing and have an idea of where I'm going with everything. But hey, enough of the somber talk about what the hell I'm going to do. How about we get back to talking about my other... I think I referenced it earlier, but my other inspiration of villainy. Professor Fate. Never before will you see a greater stuntman, daredevil, and evil genius. Professor Fate is a character from the movie The Great Race, my all-time favorite movie. Which it basically centers around these two racers, the Great Leslie and Professor Fate, as well as, another cavalcade and cast of characters, but it mainly focuses on the rivalry between Fate and Leslie. And it centers around the Great Race, from New York to Paris. And the race was created by the Leslie Corporation, an automobile corporation, to show off a new car, the Leslie Special. The Great Leslie basically approached an automotive company with this idea to host the Great Race from New York to Paris in order to, as a sort of, I forget why exactly, big cash, automotive, publicity, who knows. Point is, they were gonna race from New York to Paris. And of course, most of the unnamed competitors ended up losing in the first mile or 10-15 miles of the race, leaving only the Great Leslie and Professor Fate left as in the run-in. And the whole and the whole rest of the movie is basically a sort of a bunch of adventures of the two rivals like Fate constantly trying to cheat and slow down Leslie in a bid to try and win the race. Professor Fate had built his car himself, and it was a work of art. The Hannibal Twin-8, named after the two Twin-8 engines it had. And, hold on, can I remember the whole speech? Oh, can I remember the whole speech? It's been so long since I've watched the movie. Let me think. I'm trying to think. I can't. I want to do the whole speech justice. I want to do the whole speech justice. You know what? Quick pause. I'm searching up the Hannibal Twin-8 speech. Because I refuse to give the great Professor Fate anything less than the perfection he deserves. Oh, come on. Oh, come on, I know I have to find it somewhere. Found it. Thank you, IMDb. Okay, I'm going to finish up this next round. Hopefully I can get Joel justice, and then I am going to say the speech in full, because that is what the great Professor Fate deserves. So many memories. Wait, did I just shoot through? I don't know. Projectile collision's weird sometimes. Not dead? You're not dead? Yeah, we're good. Okay, I have to say the speech in or maybe not the speech in full because there's like some intercuts, but genius, work of genius. The finest parts from one of the greatest automobiles in the world, the Hannibal Twin-8. And when it comes to the blizzards and the snowstorms, we will continue on just as planned. Push the button, Max! When the rain comes and the snow melts, we will continue to rise above it! Push the button, Max! Nature will chase us, but we will beat her, and the brigands and thieves cutthroats of all nations may hound us, but we'll be ready for them! We'll blast them to kingdom come! We can mount, we can blast, we can rise above, we're invincible! Take us down. Push the button, Max. There's so much missing from that scene visually, but I love it. I absolutely fucking love it. I love The Great Race. Such an amazing movie. You know, some YouTubers do watch-alongs. The Great Race, who's finding DVD productions or online showings of that, who could guess? Basically, the Hannibal Twin-8 had a bunch of your usual crazy inventions attached to it. It had the ability to lift itself up. It had the ability to emit smoke screen. It had a front-mounted cannon that could pop out and got used quite a few times in the movie. Oh, and well, it was, I guess, supposed to be a heat ray. It was a cone that glowed red hot. I don't know what the purpose of that thing was. It never really got used, to be honest. The cannon, smoke screen, and the ability to rise up all got used more. Although, admittedly, the lift ability was used more as comedy, because there was this running joke that Max would typically press the wrong button and it would end up backfiring on the pair. Max was the professor's assistant, by the way. I think I forgot to mention that little bit. I did not mean to press that button. Oh, but I guess for now we have it anyways. So many good villain speeches out there. Actually, can I do I remember the whole G-Man speech from the first Half-Life? I actually want to try this. Okay, I'm gonna try doing it on my own first without searching it up, then... Yes, we got Golden Justice. Then I'm gonna see... Let's try setting you to strong, because that's... first. Then I'm gonna try and see if how close I got. Okay, one more round first. You know, one thing I need to work on? An evil laugh. I've never been able to do a good evil laugh, you know? Okay. Let's see if... Rise and shine, Mr. Freeman. Rise and shine. Not to say that you've been sleeping on the job, just that all the effort in the world would have gone to waste. Until, let's say, your time has come again. The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference, Mr. Freeman. So, wake up. Wake up and smell the ashes. Nah, my voice was too high for that one. I need to practice that one a bit more. If there's one thing I refuse to be second at, it's monologues. I could probably just have that running while I double check to see how I fucked up. I probably forgot a whole sentence of that speech. Actually, will we make it? How big is the... Okay, range is pretty big. Half-Life 2 speech. I forgot the no one is more deserving of a rest before all the effort in the world has gone to waste. Okay, Hold on. I wanted to do... Let me try this. Rise and shine, Mr. Freeman. Rise and shine. Rise and shine, Mr. Freeman. Rise and shine. Not that I wish to imply you have been sleeping on the job. No one is more deserving of a rest, and all the effort in the world would have gone to waste until, let's just say, your hour has come again. The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference, Mr. Freeman. So, wake up and smell the ashes. Hope that was better. I can't really hear myself. Definitely gonna have to check the recording. Let's try and increase the duration. Yeah, villain. I absolutely love a good villain monologue. Because they're so much fun. Just monologues are so much fun. Especially... Oh, I remember. There's this one monologue that was cut from... I can't remember what the movie was. But it was a monologue done by... I think a fallen angel. Was it Gabriel? It was the muse. It was the angel that was representative of a muse or artist that was cast down from heaven. I forget who exactly though. But you could probably search it up. Just search up "evil is an abstract speech" or "evil is an abstract monologue." It is so good, and it got cut from the movie. Such a waste. I can't believe this, but just that one line, such a waste, reminds me of the myriad of monologues and speeches given by the narrator in Stanley Parable. Each one, absolute brilliance. Granted, I know that some people aren't as, let's say, appreciative of a long-winded monologue that covers the themes or concepts of the media it's given in, but I always love to hear them. Yeah, let's just... what else should I actually get from here? Maybe an alchemist to buff these two up more? Not sure. Yeah, probably an alchemist, to be honest. Put it here mainly for coverage. Faster throwing to split between the two. Could you imagine? I know there's VTubers, a lot of VTubers do ASMR. Could you imagine G-Man ASMR? Like, the dude's got a voice for it. Like, just an hour of G-Man ASMR. Monologuing cryptic... Oh, yeah, G-Man. 1 hour of cryptic monologue ASMR. Actually, that'd be a pretty... I mean, I don't want to do ASMR content, I don't think I'm particularly good at it, I don't think I have the voice for it, but could you imagine 1 hour of evil monologue ASMR? That would be fucking brilliant. Oh, I wonder if... And mine's jumping all over the place. Yeah, I want 1 hour of evil monologues, so work to do. I could actually just make a YouTube compilation of that. Just forget wait, no. Forget lo-fi beats. Forget lo-fi beats to study to. 1 hour of evil monologues to study to. Now that would be something I'd listen to. And now we pull out all the stops. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know. Voila. And now that was... Oh, I almost forgot to like. That was Borderlands Tower Battles by Forecast Belt. Now that was 2 new maps, so of course we have to go try... Well, I'd say try once again. I'll be honest, I've been trying to see if I can break Dustbowl without that one particular ability that we discussed in the last stream. And unfortunately, I think I'll have to give up on Dustbowl. I'll still give it a like. I'll give it a like, but... Nah, I can only give for my own reasons, for my own standards. I will only give a like if I can beat a level on Impossible. It's more of my own personal show of victory than anything else. But also I do believe that any level should at least be beatable in Impossible. Any level, that's like the gold standard. That, and I admit, I was having quite a bit of help from 2 previous chatters to actually get through Dustbowl. And, well, I may be pulling back the curtain once again for you VOD watchers, but I like getting a lot of chats. You know, still early and all. But let's take a look at this. Town by Chicken Man. Already very beautifully designed with all these intricate details, and the house placement just perfect. Now I mean this genuinely, this is a beautiful looking map. But first we must see, where are the line of sight blockers? Of course the houses are pretty big line of sight blockers. Which means this doesn't have that much coverage. But over here, you get much more coverage here. Was Etten the right call? I think Etten was the right call. Desperado, on the other hand, is nowhere near the right call, to be honest. But actually... Brickle! This would be a perfect map for Brickle! How could I forget Brickle? But... if we use Etten, we get universal camo. Which means I don't have to spend time and effort finagling the placement of like a village. You know, we'll try with Etten. I don't... Glue Gunner, since we're not gonna be doing Desperado, we can kind of take it a bit easier here. Etten right here. And then we can begin to prepare to boost up this one guy to a ridiculous amount. Let's take a look at this map. This is a really beautifully designed map. Like all there's chickens in their own little chicken coops. That's adorable. Like this map, I think out of all the maps we've seen so far, this one just is brimming with personality. It looks like such a small, quaint little town. One thing I would have suggested, though, that would have made it look more lively, add in some of the monkeys. Like, I'm pretty sure you can add in, like, interactable monkeys or NPC characters. Then again, that might be locked behind paywall. And, oh, the rubber duckies to use as actual ducks. That's so clever. I mean, Desperado could still maybe work. Place it back here, shoot down sight. It would also mean I can give this guy the Desperado boost. The true error. I can talk for maybe like an hour at a time, but past that point, that's when I start to struggle. But hey, practice makes perfect, I suppose. And once we get a destroyer, it's all smooth sailing. Actually, we could probably like just go to auto start by this point. Yeah. There's just so many little details. Like you never notice until you look. But the flowers, the bits of grass sticking out, the placement of the rocks, all of it just helps to fill empty space and populate the level. My one issue though, this tree. It's a nice tree, but it blocks so much pace. It blocks so much. It blocks the track. It blocks this entire area. Like, I would maybe move the tree to be here, because it also, like, clips onto the track. So I would definitely have placed the tree here. And we got a destroyer now. Granted, this is, in my opinion, well, this map might fall into intermediate level. Like, I could see this being an intermediate level map because of the restrictions placed by the buildings and the relatively short map lengths. However, it has a dominant water spot, which means a destroyer is going to destroy it. Or at least a properly built destroyer is going to destroy it. Let's see if I can... Ah, come on. Come on. Damn. I was hoping I can get the glue gunner in line. Okay, maybe? Yes! And now we have this guy who's going to be dealing damage too. Honestly, I think out of all of the monkeys, my favorite design-wise is the mermonkey. Like, each of its upgrades are so unique, and the mermonkey itself is so unique compared to a lot of the other monkeys. Granted, I think Desperado comes in a close second. Mainly, it's only just a color change of the typical monkey, but I mean, I still think it's pretty cool. Really, the monkeys that stand out to me are Ice Monkey, Desperado, and Mermonkey, because they have like a different color scheme compared to all of the other monkeys, which helps them to stand out. Also, cowboys are cool, and I don't know, but still, I think Mermonkey has the most unique design out of all of them. Sorry, leather chair. Mermonkey has the most unique design out of all of them. And we're going to be getting an aircraft carrier very soon. Yeah, Ice Monkey, Ice Monkey, Ice Monkey. Oh, we can... Oh, come on, I know I placed them. There. Should've... Hold on, I'm gonna just try and be a bit greedy. Yep, we still got it. Can we get more balloon? Yes, we can. And icicles. This is like another thing. Like the tree completely blocks this area, which is just kind of annoying. And relentless glue. Question becomes, what do I work towards next? Probably Icicle Impale. It hasn't lost us a game yet. Well, save for Dustbowl, which, well, we never got to this point on Dustbowl. And also, would an Ice Monkey have actually helped? Maybe. Maybe. Because I also have Tack Shooter. Yeah, the Tack Shooter buff that lets it deal damage to balloons. Maybe. Yeah, but I'd need to survive up until that point. Indeed. But yeah, I know that these past few scheduled streams have been all over the place because I keep like delaying and changing and moving. I'll be honest, I did kind of forget about the 4th of July. I'll be 100% honest there. But hopefully, no, assuredly, my next stream will be Garden Warfare. Because again, I do want to play that. Oh, can you actually place a sniper monkey on this tower? Let me just check. No, you can't. I could have sworn that one of the maps will actually allow you to place. It's that one roadside map that I still can't. Middle of the road? I don't know. Town? Passing through? I don't know. Ah, Christ, it's out of my head. This might, unfortunately, still be a shorter stream. Still want to hit the 3-minute mark, or 3-hour mark, though. Let's try and... I think that once we get the 3-hour mark, depending on what level, if I'm in a level or not. Yeah, I was on a roll talking about my hyperfixation on villains. What other great villains are there? Oh, favorite Batman villain. Actually, this is something I should do more often. Type in the comments, favorite Batman villain. Personally, mine is, and this is going to be hyper-specific, the Mad Hatter from the animated series. I always did like the idea of the Mad Hatter as just... Yeah, I don't know, for some reason I always did like the Mad Hatter in the animated series. Like, he was definitely evil, definitively evil, but you could kind of get where the guy was coming from. A nobody who got a taste of power and basically went crazy with his mind control. And he didn't his first ever act of villainy was honestly pretty interesting, like mind controlling various denizens of Gotham to create the perfect date night. I also really did like his getup. Like, I don't know. I know this is not exactly like... It isn't a getup you see with a lot of variations or renditions of the Mad Hatter, nor is it all too similar to the actual Mad Hatter from Lewis Carroll's story. But I always did love that purple coat and green and the top hat with the green band. Granted, I do think that when it comes to the specific type of mind control, the series Gotham got it better. I've never really been a big fan of the whole snap your fingers type mind control, the blast them with a ray type mind control, instant mind control. Never been a big fan of that, because to me, it is boring. Like, there's no flash, there's no flare, there's no struggle to keep hold of your mind. There's just a sort of snap it, or snap your fingers, blink your eyes, say a few funny words, and boom, hypnotize. Nothing else. And then they'll have the whole, like, unhypnotize. Best case scenario, they have the hypnosis be broken by a final, like, encounter, or a try to remember person, hero, dude, guy, girl, whatever. Try to remember, and then they break out of their hypnosis. But even then, like, they don't give it enough credit or flair. Or, the more boring one, they just break the mind control device. Like, I don't like the idea of the mind control device, because I find it to be very lazy and a waste of the brilliance of mind manipulation. So much you can do with mind manipulation. Imagine... Wait, can I get... Oh, I already have it. What do I get? I guess flagship carrier? Flagship carrier. It's just a waste of mind manipulation and the concept of mind control. With mind control, it opens so much psychological possibilities. Like true mind control for me, good mind control, plays off of character flaws. Good narrative mind control plays off of things like illusions, emotions. It takes the failings of the character and manipulates the character through those failings. And because that allows them, because that means when the character overcomes the mind control, it is a representation of them overcoming the flaws that were controlling them. It is narratively brilliant, and so much better than fucking snap your fingers, put on a top hat or headset or whatever mind control. I am very passionate about this. And you know what's definitely cool? Illusions. Hallucinations. Particularly, not just random hallucinations, not like what Scarecrow... Well, depending on what version of the Scarecrow you're talking about, but not just like random hallucinations. Real, poignant hallucinations. Like, that is brilliant ability. You want to tailor your manipulation to the target. That's the hallmark of good evil manipulation. I am oddly passionate about this, but it's just one toolbox, one tool in the toolbox of supervillainy. Do I go with Lord of the Abyss for even more piercing? Yeah, why not? Yeah, I think we've got this in the bag now. I remember, there was actually this one anime that I'm kind of forgetting it. But basically, the villain did have, you know, your typical mind. The villain was actually a beast tamer. Or, well, not really a beast tamer, but he had the ability to control beasts by placing some kind of marking on them. And essentially, he was able to control this beast, that what it would do was create, like, these vivid hallucinations and illusions. And that's how its mind control or mind manipulation worked. Because how it basically got the characters to fight each other is that it controlled one to believe that it was sparring with their sibling, I think older sister it was. Basically, the illusion was a spar with their older sibling, and they, because of... Oh, can we beat it? With their older sibling, and that got them to end up fighting the other character. I think pretty clever. That's the I honestly bring that... Well, the discussion of mind control made me remember that scene in particular, but the reason why I bring that anime up in particular, and we win. Hold on. Thank you for making a beautifully designed map. That was Town by Chicken Man. Oh, that's why there's so many chickens. Honestly, pretty clever. For a connection between your name. What the heck was that? Meh. Pretty clever connection between the name and the thing. Now we move on to Wind. Is it Wind River or Wind River? Why are Wind and Wind spelled the exact same, but pronounced ever so slightly different? Like, we couldn't have put a Y for Wind? Ha. This one looks like it has a lot of looping, but... But ease depends on tower placement. No, no, and no, but... Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Will this work is a question. And I was a bit presumptuous. That's not what I wanted to do. I think I can beat this one fairly well. We want... Actually, maybe Brickle would have been better overall. Because can I place... I can. Oh. I can. I mean, I don't think Brickle would be able to fit here if I do place it like that, but it does mean I can place it here. And then I can place you here. You shouldn't get in the way of the Desperado if I do decide to place that. And then that should be more than enough to handle. Because I can place Etten over here. Actually, would Etten make more sense, like, over here? Where Etten can, like, cover more... Maybe. Nah, because range. I want my monkeys to have the range. Yeah, let's go with there. I don't think there's enough room to put a mermonkey in this area. I could certainly try, though. Oh, yeah, I could put it here, and that would get me the results I want. You know, but I really wanted to put a Desperado right here. Damn. Damn, damn. I completely forgot what I was talking about a few seconds ago. Right, mind control and the idea. Yeah, and particularly one anime in particular. So, here's the weird thing that I never understood with that anime, or at least a gripe I always had with that anime. Because the villain of that arc that I was talking about, basically his whole thing was that people thought he was weak because his power was to control stronger monsters. the explanation was that power isn't your own, that power is the monster's power. To which I say, he still is the one controlling them, you idiots. Like, power is more than just your own personal strengths or your personal intelligence. Like, power is a whole collective. And I think that what people get wrong about the idea of power is that they believe that power comes from a singular source. It's not. Power... Okay, let me talk through how I view power and what I believe power is. Power is a person's ability to impose their will on the world around them. Power is a person's ability to impose their will on the world around them, and power can come from many sources. Power can come from money, it can come from connections, it can come from your physical strength, it can come from your intelligence. All of these things are things that can give a person power, but they are not power in and themselves. Power is merely a measure of force or capability. Can I get it? Yes, I can. Power is merely a measure of force and capabilities. For instance, and here's often when I give this whole spiel, I use this as an example. In this scenario, who has, of these people, who has more power? Is it the soldier who is capable, is it a top soldier who is capable of taking down entire squadrons by himself? Is it the general who commands that soldier and comes up with the various strategies and deployments and manages all the resources? Or is it the king who is able to declare the war in the first place by signing a piece of paper? All of these individuals have power of some sort. The soldier has physical power and battle prowess. The general has strategic power, as well as, I guess, power over others in the sense that he outranks them, power of rank. And then the king has the power of wealth, the power of politics, and as well as just being the one with the most influence. Each of these individuals has some form of power, but who exactly has the most power? And of course, how you answer that question will result in how you, or what you believe is more important, or what gives you more power, or what your own views on power are. Yada yada yada. Overzealous. But yeah, and honestly, I know we laugh about it in anime, but the power of friendship is a real thing. But it's more akin to the power of connections, the power of knowing the right people, or the power of just having people to help you. And honestly, that kind of like goes against what the anime I was previously talking about saying, like saying true power comes from your own effort. It's like, no, you can get power from your influence and connections with other people. That also gives you power. Is it technically your power? No, but it is a way in which you can influence the world, thus making it a form of power. Now let's see if I can... And damn, I was hoping I could get it. And I'm gonna need to get Enforcer soon. Ah, damn it. It increases the range too much. Still, it's got a shotgun. Shotguns are cool. It's not exactly an optimized Desperado, but it is a Desperado nonetheless, and it's good enough for me. I also really have to, like, wonder, like, I don't know, I think a lot of the time animes, well, I just noticed, that's a pretty, oh, that's cute. An anime will, like, doesn't have an actual understanding of, like, the concept of power, because oftentimes power will just end up in the hands of whatever argument they're trying to make. Like, if the anime wants to boast the power of friendship, of course they're going to put down the power, in the more individualistic power. If the anime is trying to talk about the evils of corporations and money, then of course it's going to try and put down or belittle the power of finances or wealth. At the end of the day, power itself is not evil. It is merely a tool. Power isn't even necessarily a tool. Like, the things that give you power are tools. Power is just, again, a measurement. Power is, again, just a measurement. It is simply a measure of... we should probably... It is simply a measure of influence or capability. Would have been smart? Nah. I don't know, like, here's another thing for the comments. What do you think is the most important form of power? What do you think... Did I already ask that? I am losing my mind here. Where do you think power comes from, or what form of power would you rather have? Would you rather be strong, intelligent, have political power, financial power, the power of friendship? Like, if you could pick, which would you pick? I think anime has kind of, like, given the power of friendship a bad rap because of how cliche it is. But again, that is genuinely a form of power. It is your connections and influence. Like, and we all need a helping hand for sometimes. Like, the most important thing anyone can have, a good support network. Very important. A good support network can save your life. Trust me on that. What hour mark are we at anyways? Yeah, only the 2-hour mark. Not ending until we hit 3. I don't care how much material I go through. You know, although this discussion of what is power kind of reminds me of another discussion on what is rhetoric. Only philosophy students are really going to understand this, but basically, there was this story about Socrates, or I believe it was it Aristotle who wrote various stories about Socrates' life and his philosophy. Granted, because it was a secondhand account, we can't actually know if any of these things happened to Socrates, if Socrates actually said any of these things, or if all of it was just made up by, was it Aristotle or Plato? I can't remember. It's been so long since I've taken philosophy classes. But basically, in one story, Socrates questioned various individuals, I forget their names, on the nature of rhetoric, or what makes rhetoric or rhetoricians, those who specialize in the art of rhetoric, so good or morally good. And yeah, give me a bit. Hold on. I'll be honest. I'm slowly losing my voice here. Give me a bit. So, rhetoricians can basically, to summarize a rhetorician, they can basically be seen as public speakers and orators. And I believe I forget, I'd have to read the story again, but one of the reasons why one of the reasons someone gave of why rhetorician is the greatest good, or to aspire to be a rhetorician is to aspire to the greatest good, was this idea that because the art of rhetoric can get a person whatever they wanted, that made it good, because at the time there was this individuals, I believe, I don't want to call them the hedonists, sophists, a running philosophy that claimed that the greatest good is what gives you the greatest pleasure, under this pretense or idea that humans will always, or that humans' innate perception of good and evil was designed to lead them towards what is best. Obviously, we have proven this to not be the case. Self-indulgence is not indicative of the greatest good. What a... Tack shooter. Yeah. We got a few left, so I'm gonna quickly just gun it for a tack shooter. Can I? I can't place it here. But I can place it here. Roughly the same. Not the full coverage I would have wanted, but close enough. I was not prepared for that. Okay, basic. Actually, I don't think I should, because I can't remember it in full, so I don't want to give like a half-assed abbreviation of the story. I'd have to look up. What is it? Can I get an alchemist somewhere nearby to buff that guy up? Okay, come on, survive this. Okay, gonna need to focus up here, sorry. Considering all the coverage I have, I think I can just like set this guy to strong. After I beat this, I'll look up what exactly the story was called. Yep. Oh, shit! We were so close. Damn. Damn. You know what it was? I didn't have an ice monkey. If I had an ice monkey, I wouldn't have lost that. Still, yeah, dying around 100 isn't all too bad. But I can't like it until I've beaten it. But I also don't want to spend too long. You know, I think I'm going to take that as a pseudo victory because we at least got to round 100. But I will come back to this to beat it another time. And moving down the list, Crazy River by Hacksnot. This one seems like it shouldn't be too hard. Again, good point for where I can place a seafarer. And it'll only get better. Now where do I want to... Okay, granted attack shooter or maybe a Thada would have been better placement. But yeah, I'm sure it's fine. Yeah, we'll go with this. I'm confident that we won't be able to fail. Question is how... That within Desperado's reach. Probably want to still put Desperado up here. Yeah, Christ. Unfortunately, we're in that part of the stream, the low. And I admit I'm running out of steam a lot sooner than I would have hoped. I knew I shouldn't have skipped coffee. Yep. We'll be fine. Again, sorry. My voice just still can't keep up for too long. Gonna need to rest it for a bit. Oh wait, I didn't talk too much about this map. I just went straight into playing it. Visually, I like the concept here. I think the forest is a neat touch. I think the pathing is cool, and it going over the bridge across the river. I think that is all very cool. Although I think you kind of went overboard with the grass. Like, there's even points where the grass clips in to the river and it doesn't look all too natural, which takes it down a peg. I think you really could have lightened up on having all of that grass. There's also like a point where the path like clips over to the water, which is a bit iffy. And also the fish, like, all the fish, like, the river looks like it has a certain flow to it, but the fish don't point in the direction of the river, which just makes it look off. And they're too, like, neatly organized. So I would definitely, like, have the fish turn to kind of face the curve of the river, mainly to give a sort of visual flow, as well as maybe using less fish to make the patterns less obvious. Not forgetting the ice monkey this time. Can I actually fit it up here? Yeah. That would have been such a much better place to put the ice monkey. Oh, that was a horrible sneeze. Sorry, I tried hitting my mic before I sneezed, but I was too short. More importantly... Come on. Ah, no, it's gonna clip with the Desperado. You know what? No Wanderer. No Wanderer worth here. Well, I never go top path, but I could see a top path maybe here. Also, I don't think the path was, like, correctly placed in certain areas. Because you see these, like, you see jumbles around here, and points where it bends and twists in weird ways. I mean, that could just be a matter of, like, how the visuals end up being. But, maybe. I guess in other news, I finally have an idea of how to handle the naming conventions when it comes to these streams. Yeah, the whole numbering thing doesn't really work when you're not sure what the heck you'll even be playing sometimes. Or if you're doing like multiple things in one stream. I guess it works if like you're dedicating it to story-based streams. I don't know. Like, I don't see people numbering their chatting streams. Maybe dating them. I only really need the bottom one for that seeking ability. It's always seeking projectiles are always useful in Bloons. You know, for all the issues, okay, this is gonna have to be out of left field or sound out of left field, but for all the issues that the Sonic X series has as a Sonic anime series, like, that was one of my earliest introductions to Sonic, and Mike Pollock's acting as Eggman in the dub, like, the amount of influence Eggman had on me when growing up. The flash and flare, the style of villainy, the love of robot minions, and the Saturday morning cartoon format. Yeah, it was great. Genuinely, I always wanted to have, dreamed of having like my own version of like Eggman's robot slot machine, because I just thought it was the coolest thing. I remembered coming up with all sorts of weird inventions and robots with like obviously glaring weaknesses. Like one robot I made was literally puppeteered by another robot. It made no sense at all, but I thought it was cool at the time. Another one which just kind of worked like an accordion. I used that accordion thing a lot, mostly because I just couldn't draw limbs. Couldn't draw accordions either, but eh. I once also had this idea of a robot. This was like much later down the line, like when Cuphead came out, to give you a time frame. And I had this idea of a boss robot that was basically just a toy box. So I had this idea of a Cuphead boss that was a toy box that would have different phases. Like the first phase, it would kind of act like what was her? Princess Bonbon, where the first phase, the toy box, would send out random toy minions to attack you. The second phase, the toy robot would kind of pop out, arms would pop at the top, eyes would appear, they'd go, like, start crawling back and forth while throwing more toys at you. And then the third phase, I had a design of it basically gaining, like, plane wings and flying up. I wonder if I can actually find the old drawings and maybe post them or redo them. That'd be cool. I really should just start going through a lot of my older drawings and updating them and posting those on Twitter. Thing is, if any balloon gets past this point, we are dead. So maybe some coverage. Oh wait. Then again, if we just pack so much in, maybe they just never make it past that point to begin with. What to do once balloons get past your first line of defense. Don't let them get past your first line of defense. sound logic, truly. Now let's just start upgrading you. Cause I got that boost that allows tack shooters to damage frozen balloons. See, you don't have to worry about balloons getting to the bridge if they can't even get through the front. Sorry for just this lull of quiet near the end of the stream. Like I said, I'm losing steam and need to rest my voice a bit. So for now, just enjoy the lovely and soothing sounds of balloons popping, ceramics clashing, and artillery firing. Ah crap, do you hear me take a sip of my water? Regardless, is this enough out monkeys? Yeah. Oh, they're actually breaching the front line. Well, they almost did. Now it's just a matter of, can we destroy the Moab or Bat in time? I think we can. Ah! See, the ice monkey makes all the difference. And in any case, that's a like. That was Crazy River by Hacksnot. Yeah, my one piece of advice would be like tone down the placement of the fish and the grass. You know, just to make it look a bit cleaner. I think this... How many more maps can we get before the hour's done? Oh, we're definitely going to want to give Dolly's Meadow here a try. I want to go in order, you know, show off more of the maps more consistently. And then... And then what, indeed? I'm sure we'll get to that when we get to that. Let's go to Probable... Yeah, Eton will still do pretty well here. Pardon me. You know, I don't... Yeah. Not enough... Well, maybe enough. If I place it here... It won't be as oppressive, but it'd still be pretty good. And if we just buff its range, then... Let's give this a try. Oh, I should have gotten Etten. This was a mistake. Mistakes were made. Where should Etten even be placed? I want Etten to be placed where it can still have a lot of effect, but still reach the Buccaneer. Yeah, that'll do. It's like this entire section where Etten will not be doing anything, or, well, no Bloon will be doing anything, or no tower will be doing anything. Still, this is worth giving a try. Honestly, what other games should I play? I mean, Bloons is all fun and well. I mean, well, what other games I could play? I know what other games I plan on playing. Garden Warfare. Plants vs. Zombies is also one. I think, Plants vs. Zombies is another game with enemies I like. Zomboss is a pretty fun enemy. I think what I'm noticing with a lot of games I gravitate to, or a lot of characters and villains I gravitate to, is that they all have something in common. And that is good minion design. Because a villain, by all means, can carry, but a villain with good... Well, okay, I'd say a villain is only good as their minions, but I mean some villains can solo. But you can never underestimate the power of good minion design, because if your minions can be memorable, then your villain can be memorable. It really makes me / reminds me I should like invest some time into figuring out what I want to make I guess my chat would look like as minions. But that's something to do in the far, far future, you know? I should not have done that. I need to stop playing with that coin purse. You know, once I actually have a bit more standing, posted more stuff, have a clearer idea of what I'm going with. This should be enough to hold things down. Now let's take a look at the map itself. First off, pretty good point to place a Buccaneer and submarines, but not too oppressive. Very open map with nothing to really block line of sight, so it's pretty easy, and a lot of points where the track can overlap. However, unlike other difficult or easy maps, it doesn't like loop back in on itself, so it's not that oppressive. I honestly say this is a pretty nice map. Like the details are all clustered together in specific areas. Like the details are clustered at points where the track pinches or bends, meaning it isn't too visually cluttered. And most of the like high-end details and 3D props are kept to the sides, which is nice. Now let's see if we can get our strategy up and running here. Like, look at this. It destroys them before they can even get through. And they're going to be moving even slower once we get our Ice Monkey Glue Gunner out. One thing though that I'm really having to consider, shorts and videos, because I can't just do streaming, and I certainly can't just do streaming forever. Streaming adds a nice little bit of consistency into my life, something to look forward to, something to strive for and keep up with every day. But it can't be all I do. I mean, the thought process behind it really was that I can turn streams into videos through editing, you know? I mean, if I'm gonna need to record the content, I might as well turn the recording of the content into content itself. Because I don't think Bloons Tower Defense would make for good, like, edited videos. Maybe, maybe not. All something I'll have to see. Oh, wait. I do think the cracks here on the site are a bit odd. You don't see dirt, especially grassy dirt like this, covered up by cracks all too often. Then again, maybe it's supposed to be like roots. But even then, I expect roots to be more around like placement of logs. I mean, well, rooted logs, not like moved logs. So it's just odd to see these cracks here. Minor nitpick, but still something I noticed. Yeah, even my food's starting to run out. I did make sure to have lunch before starting stream, but only so far noodles can take you, eh? It was actually just Panda Express noodles and some mushroom chicken. I do like the mushroom chicken. The mushroom chicken and orange chicken at Panda Express is pretty good. And look at I do like that the ink can stack with glue, which can kind of stack with ice. Not exactly, but it's not exactly stacked with ice, because ice prevents balloons from being damaged. But hey, it's still neat. Like we're just absolutely destroying. Well, the destroyer is destroying here. And Icicle Impale will make everything easy, on easy mode. You know, sometimes I wonder if it'd be easier or better to just end the stream once I start losing steam. rather than just dragging it out, but I want to keep going. I want to just play a bit longer. Even if there's no one there, still nice to think. I still can't think of anything. I've expended every talking point I've had in the first, like, hour. I guess technically hour, half, maybe 2 hours of the stream. No, wait, it's already... No, wait. No, it's only been 2 hours. Actually, hold on. No, cause... Start streaming at 2. Actually, it might be easier just to check. Oh yeah, okay. Thank you, OBS, for your timekeeping. Oh crap, actually, what do I get at this point? I feel like I was planning on getting something. Oh yeah, aircraft carrier. Oh my god, Etchin's range. Etchin's honestly a pretty nice monkey to pair with subs. And I say that because of subs like global attack ability. Because not only does it give your subs camo, meaning you don't need to have the camo protection ability of the subs, but also his massive range and his own camo detection means that subs can just target so much of the map. What to buy next? Let's just keep upgrading this guy. Should have gotten a bigger cup of water. Yeah, lessons for next time, lessons for next time. What other great villains are there? Oh, I remember, this was another YouTube channel, that Mr. Rogues. He's no longer doing YouTube, but he used to do these, like, forgotten Batman villains, or forgotten Spider-Man villains. And he'd basically highlight all of these really old, really niche villains, and I thought a few of them were pretty cool. One of them, Turner D. Century, comes out, or at least presents himself at first as a hero protecting the old. But then he starts, like, destroying a lot of modern establishment, bars, clubs, anything he sees as a den of debauchery. Because he believes that things were better in a simpler time, you know? That's why he chose the moniker Turner D. Century. He also had like all these neat gimmicks. Like he had a flying tandem bike with a
pin on the back, an umbrella that shot fireballs, which kind of dipped into penguins, whole stitch. But there was also, I forget exactly. Was it a? I think it was a old cam. It was a device that looked like an old camera, but had either the ability to steal away age, or it just like gave people heart attacks. I don't know. No, I think Eternity Century was tricked by an old. I forget who. I think was Eternity Century a Spider-Man villain? I am blanking. I need to watch those videos again. My mind is too scattered. I really should write stuff down more. Yeah, Christ, wait, crap, what do I even get from this point? I guess, Alk. I think we've got it pretty settled here. Granted. Yep. And then we just finish off with both of our abilities. And we will be done. I have another custom map 1. And that was Dolly's Meadow by Microwave Doll. Another great map. We're not exactly... we're like 20 minutes short of the 3-hour mark that I'd like. But I think this is a good place to take a break. I'm running out of steam, and I've already long since run out of things to talk about. So, a bit short of my goal, but hey, can't have a sparkling day every day. Though still, I hope for anyone who's stopped by to watch the stream, and for anyone who may be watching this as a VOD, I've been Clockwork Cartoon, a full-time cartoon villain and game design student. Hope to see you next